5 minutes car, then you have to run out and then stop when you see the end, you run out. Because we also want to hear from the participants. You all have lots of stories. So just very briefly, Kenny is a single father ex-engineer who started being a tech writer so that he can build his schedule around the child. Siu Ing is hire seniors. She connects seniors with companies. Fiona, when she couldn't get a job, she started her own virtual assistant company, and it is doing well because it is a trend all around the world. Many people are now going for global VA and earning USD. So I will pass first to the gentleman first, a rare jab, Kenny. Give a hand to Kenny.
Thank you. First one. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now I want to know how many of you here are single parent like me? One. How many of you here are in between careers, looking for a job, empty nester? All right. Now, okay. Digital entrepreneurship, and that's why I asked you to talk about this subject. I wonder, what can I talk? I'm not an entrepreneur like they all. See, they bring people together. Me, I only build my life, my new career around my son. If I am an entrepreneur, I would call myself a dadpreneur. Now, how all these things happen? Let me take you back to 10 years ago. This is me 10 years ago. And this is also the last time I left Malaysia. I went to travel overseas. I was in London. You see, I was a bit blurred at the time. Why? Because I was sent by my client to work in London to settle some project there. I was given only 1 week notice. I had to fly. And this happened just around 1 or 2 weeks after January 17. Very scary also, right? And at the time, Iraq, there's a war going on. And we flew over Iraq, So during the flight, I cannot sleep. I totally cannot sleep. I keep watching the map, When we go over Iraq, please no missile, That is how scary it is. But I have to go. My client asked me, and it's a paid trip also, right? So I have to go. But what many of you didn't know is, after this trip, my marriage broke down. I go through a divorce. And the next year, I experienced almost losing my son. My son has this fever fit. How many of you know what is fever fit? Don't know, huh? Yeah, some of you know. Fever fit is children, before they are 7 years old, 30% of them, when their temperature reach a certain degree, their brain will shut off. They will collapse like this. So my son luckily collapsed in my arm. I didn't know what happened, but I know I had to rush into the hospital with my father back then. I think within 2 minutes we reached the hospital. And during that journey, I pray to every God in existence, please don't take my son away. That is me, 2015. And that is when I decided I don't care about business anymore, company, whether I'm a boss, an entrepreneur or anything, I don't care anymore. Whether I'm married or not, I don't care anymore. I only want to build a life stable enough for my son. And then that's how I closed down my company. I go to Google, I went to Google, I searched how to make money online. Luckily, I didn't get scammed. So, what happened is, I found one program that taught me something called affiliate marketing. I'm not going to go too detailed. Basically, affiliate marketing is there's this special link unique to me that I get from the vendor. If I pass it to you, let's say you want to buy a computer, I pass you the Shopee link, but it's an affiliate link. You buy from Shopee, I get a commission. This is affiliate marketing, plain and simple. Right? But what I learned from that becomes very useful in my later journey. Right? First thing I learned, SEO. SEO, everyone knows at least a little bit about SEO, right? It is about ranking your web pages on Google. It sounds simple, and it is simple back then. Back then, we just put some keywords that people search, like best laptop in Malaysia and so on, and we put content around it, optimize it, then chances are it will rank. And this is a skill that helps me in the beginning of my journey, affiliate marketing with SEO. It pays my bills back then, because I'm no longer an engineer. I started my career over again. It is tough. You need to learn skills like you are a freshie, right? Second skill I learned, writing. Writing as in blogging. I write blogs to promote all those products, to teach people about, my first blog was about meditation, mindfulness. I talk about stress, anxiety, and so on. I was not a good writer back then, but somehow my website ranks and covers my expenses. Right? Third thing, it is marketing itself. When I run a business in Malaysia, I don't know anything about marketing, honestly. I thought marketing is about telling people how good your products is, or when you want to go and find a freelancing job, you tell people, hey, I have so many years as a designer, as a writer. I thought that is being loud is marketing, but it is not. At least it is not the way that a lot of brands, the brands that are successful brands market in today, in this era. Right? So I learned something from the affiliate marketing, because there were two mentors. It was founded by two mentors from Canada, two entrepreneurs from Canada. So they taught me what is marketing all about in online. So marketing is as simple as guiding or providing solution, helping your audience solve their problems. If they want, for example, if you don't know how to format your laptop, you come and ask me, right? I will teach you from A to Z how to do it. And that way, I build trust with all of you. And that is how people start to buy from me. Okay? In my engineering days, the mindset I had, if people ask me, hey, how you design your electronics products, I will be very secretive. I scared they steal my suppliers, steal my ideas, and go and find cheaper suppliers, right? So I keep everything to myself. That is what I learned today is totally different than that. So am I afraid people stealing my ideas now or not? No. Why? Because if you steal my ideas, or if you, based on what I share with you, if you go and find someone cheaper, then I know you are not my ideal customers. Right? Now I identify who are my target audience. And this is the way I market myself now. Right? So these are my skills. But what about yours? If you want to go and hunt for jobs, freelancing, or start a business, you have to have your own skill sets. Maybe it's AI, programming, and so on. But what is more important is how I package all these skills and trade it for money, because I need money back then. My way is very simple. Problem, first, I must know what the clients need to solve. Yeah, I'm a writer, but why do I write? Why do the client needs a writer? Maybe they want to get more sales. Maybe their existing websites are not performing good enough. Or maybe they just want to brand awareness. I need to know this, right? Instead of telling me, hey, I'm a writer, and so on. And this relates to positioning. In my engineering days, I go for being the cheapest company in town, the cheapest engineering solution provider in town. So what happened? I attract clients who want cheap products. They don't care about the experience. They don't care about value. And can this business model survive or not? Can it be sustainable or not? Cannot. As a writer, I'm no longer doing cheap, fast and good. You cannot do all. So cheap is out of the question already. How I position myself with all the skills that I've learned previously. SEO, I rank my websites. I do for myself. I rank my websites. Capture screenshot, show to the client. I tell the client, I cannot promise you getting first page on Google, but these are what I have done for myself. So it's up to them to decide. So when you come from different positions, like in some jobs, they need a tech writer. I position myself as a writer who has 10 years of engineering experience, not like others. Many writers don't have, many tech writers don't have. So I can give that kind of authority to your article. This is how I position myself. And pitching. If you want job today, you cannot wait, build your social media presence, go on to LinkedIn, post, and say, no, it takes time. You have to go up, find the opportunities, pitch. That is one thing that we do. But how to pitch? Many freelancers, even business owners, what I observe is, they'll go and tell, hey, dear sir or dear madam, I am a copywriter with 15 years of experience. Now, when you do this, you are wasting that opportunity to capture their attention. People already know they are advertising for this job. They are looking for a copywriter. You go and tell them, hey, I'm a copywriter. There's nothing attractive in that. So I do my homework. I go and research who the client is. I go through their website and find very, very tiny details that most people won't go and find. So I use that as a talking point to capture their attention. My intention is to get them to respond to me. Because for every job, there are probably 20, 50 applicants. I need to stand up. Right? And then, with all this, I make some money, cover for my son also. Right? So, some of you might think, Kenny, you talk about all this theory. Does it work or not? Today, I'm quite active on this platform called Upwork. It's the world's largest freelance portal, and so far I've made about more than $90,000 US on this platform. So I show this not to brag or say I am better than anyone. I show this because some of you might think, is there any other ways out of your situation or not? I would say there is, and this is not the only way, right? So don't lose hope. One day, things will get better, right? That's all from me today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for an inspiring talk. Next is Fiona. Fiona,
Okay.
would you like to sit here or you want people to stand? Yes. Okay, over to you, Fiona, for the story.
Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Fiona. Okay, let me also share a bit of my background. I born with a very rare skin condition. I think a lot of people have not heard. It's called epidermolysis bullosa. So I'm quite lucky. Lucky in the sense that I have the most mildest condition. Okay, so when I was born, I actually don't have skin. Yeah, it's funny, but from what my mom told me, I was wrapped like a dumpling. Yeah, so I don't have skin. So I also couldn't walk. So I only start standing up and walk at the age of 12. Okay, so before that I was crawling on the floor. And born in a very typical, super protective Asian family, I was locked at home. I mean, not in a bad sense lah. It's just my parents don't want me to get bullied and stigma. So yeah, I didn't go for any proper education and everything. Until at the age of 12, I started to ask my mom, I wanted to learn to study and everything. Before the age of 12, I actually learned from my brother books. So they all is normal. I'm the only one that had this rare skin condition. So whenever they, after school, they would share their books with me. I'm not sure how, but somehow I pick up their books and everything. So at the age of 12, I requested to try to enroll me in a school. But then back then the education, the school is a bit strict or whatever. So they actually wanted to put me in a OKU school. Actually, I'm okay with that, but my mom, they all take because when it says OKU back then was actually more on the mentally handicapped. So my parents take it very heavily because they felt that I'm not like mentally challenged and everything. So in the end, I didn't go to school at all. But I did manage to hire a private tutor and about to go for UPSI and SPM. But then my family has some financial crisis. So at the age of 14, I start to work as an admin for my family business. So I started to work until up to 19 years old. I told my parents that I wanted to venture out. So of course, my very protective parents wouldn't let me go. But I insist. I said that I cannot be stuck in the family forever. And thankfully back then when I worked for them, I have to handle everything. My family business was selling motorcycle and spare part and customer service lah. So I'm the only admin back then, so I have to do finance, account, and everything. So that's where I get my skill, right? So my first job, I landed in the legal firm. A few jobs I get, also I'm the only admin there. So I'm the only legal clerk. I have to pick up the legal knowledge in 3 months' time. Yeah, and I do all the paperwork, all the bankruptcy work, everything. So fast forward, before pandemic, I actually have about 12 years of admin skill already. So I have HR, admin, account, anything that you need for an office admin. But then during pandemic, after we take a break, like the whole MCO thing, I start to go and look for a job again. And then I understand that because of the economy, so they try to, lowball my salary, also because of my condition. So from earning about 4 to 5K, they actually lowball me to 1.5. Yeah, and also they say that I'm not presentable enough. Yeah, it's very harsh lah. I feel very pain. And then people around me telling me that admin skill is no longer on demand. Of course, I was like thinking, no, I mean, I know that that's not the most lucrative skill, right? I know that it can be tech or other things, which is true, I agree. But then, I still believe that your payroll, your people still have to get it done, your tax you still have to file, right? So, back then, I'm quite lucky. I stumbled across MDEC program called GLOW, right? They are promoting and trying to help people to learn digital skill and freelance. I have the digital skill, but I don't know how to sell it. So, GLOW actually helped me to promote myself in Upwork. So, same as Kenny, they actually taught us how to pitch and everything. So, I managed to find my first client in Upwork actually. After like 3 to 6 months, it's very difficult because like Kenny said, you cannot just simply pitch. You really have to understand what the client needs and everything. So after I managed to get my first client, I started to understand that actually there is a demand, right? Because company, they still need someone to work, but they cannot manage the admin or they don't need it full time there. So that's how I thought of the service. I will provide it on demand or on needed basis. Instead of you hire a full-time admin, you only pay when we do the work, right? So after that, after I start to promote my service on Upwork and Freelancer, I get more and more customer, thankfully, and I started to feel that there's only so much I can do. And when I'm in the GLOW program, I learned that actually there's a lot of people like me that they got the skill, but they don't know how to pitch. So back then I was just thinking, maybe if I cannot do everything, like I cannot keep having clients because I only have a pair of hands. I talk to the people that join together in the Glow, like, do you want to work together? Because they told me that they don't know how to pitch and they also introvert. So I say that why don't I help to pitch and then we work together, like, you know, a card and something. Yeah, and slowly I grow from there and more people join my company. And then on one fine day, I actually got a single mother join my agency. So after she joined my agency, she showed her appreciation that she very surprised that there's a VA agency in Malaysia, and she very surprised that a woman that passed certain age and single mother still got demand, like can provide her service. She's very happy, and she has a child with dialysis. So when she told me that, I instantly feel very fulfilling because I start this to survive. So I'm not very noble. I keep telling people I just want to survive the pandemic, right? But when the single mother told me that, Fiona, you don't know, but you actually helped me a lot. Then I was like, oh, so I can earn while also helping others. So from then on, even though I didn't openly target, but I will prioritize single mother, stay-at-home mom, or people with individuals difficulty like myself, because I felt that, I mean, there's a lot of fresh grad apply, but I really felt you are fresh grad, you should just work, you know, like a normal company. The opportunity, I really want to give it to people that like myself, because back when I was working full-time job, I hope that my employer will understand my needs, because back then I don't use wheelchair. I just struggle, my leg, if I will stand for too long, it will grow blister. But because I get it since I was a kid, my pain tolerance was very high. Although I would definitely every month take 1 day MC lah. Yeah, so that's why when I know that you can actually work from home, I really hope that I can survive myself and also provide the opportunity to people same like me, because I really felt that sometimes we want to work from home, it's not because we want to enjoy, but it's really we have no choice. Yeah, so for me, as long as you have a basic digital skill, you can use Microsoft Office, you can use Google Workspace, and a little bit of basic research, right? Then you actually can be a freelancer or service provider, because a lot of things like services you can actually learn online, right? So as long as you have the mindset to learn, research actually is not as difficult. So you just need to know how to find the solution and how to market yourself. Yeah.
Do we have about 4 minutes left? Yes. Any questions? We have 4 minutes left.
GLOW by MDEC. It's still ongoing and it's free program. Oh yeah, by the way, in fact, if you complete the program, they even give you incentive, like they pay you credit for artwork. Yeah, it's very valuable.
How do we get, sorry, how do we get in touch with the program?
I'm not the reseller, but I can share with you the link and also the coach that I'm with last time. Yeah. Online. During pandemic is online. I'm not sure now they do hybrid or not, because I know when they started, actually Grow program started many years ago, and they like have this kind of class. But during pandemic they guide through online. So it's a 3-month mentor program, 3 days, 9 to 6 intensive training.
If there are no more questions, we go to Sim Eng, who is with higher seniors. And those of us who are above 50 can always approach her how to get back into the job market. She will give a few hints.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Hi. After listening to all these very inspirational stories, I'm like, we should give them more time to speak. Right. So, I'm from Higher Seniors. How many of you have heard of Higher Seniors before? I know at least one has. Two, yeah, of course. Right, Higher Seniors, we are basically a recruitment portal focusing on reconnecting seniors to the workforce. You will find out more about higher seniors. I thought that with time we have, it might be more useful for me to share some of the experiences of our people that we have connected. Okay, how many of you have actually been, how many of you here are in a career, like a career gap, you're actually looking up for something new? Almost all, right? Okay. Now, and how many of you think that, you are maybe a bit too old out there and there are many younger people who are going to be, yes, right. True and yet not true. It really depends. I think you've heard of all these two very inspirational stories. It's very much about how you position yourself and how you actually spend time to search and your attitude towards learning new things. It applies for all, whether young or old. Just give an example. I mentioned just now we are a recruitment agency focusing on connecting seniors, and here generally seniors who are 50 years old and above. We've got a few people who are in their 40s, but can you take a guess who's the oldest that we have placed? Yeah, 74.
Wow.
Yes, 74 years old. And if you think that, okay lah, they can do all this, maybe sit at the desk thing and what. This man that we recruit, that we have to connect, 74 years old, he was a professional. But because of the pandemic, again, many people got caught at the pandemic and all that thing, but he was open to learn new things. He was willing to explore, and he actually was willing to take on a job in an upmarket grocery outlet. At the end of that period, right, they were so happy with him. They said, actually because he's 74 years old, right, he spends a little bit more time repeating what he said, but they really, really liked his performance. The bosses wanted to keep him, but guess what? Our candidate actually found another job.
Higher paid.
I don't know about that because he didn't tell. But he found another job. And after he finished that other job, he came back and he said, "Can you find me another job?" At that time, we had someone who was looking for someone to do modeling.
Wow.
They wanted a senior model, and he was our model. They actually selected him. So a lot of it is our mindset as well. He wasn't afraid to try new things. He's a professional, and it's like, it's okay, I'm going to try this out. I just want to make sure that, I keep myself alert. That's one. Now, of course, maybe you say, okay lah, maybe he's been working all the time, assuming because of the pandemic. I'll tell you another story of someone who, like many of you here, professionals who left their jobs because of family. Alright, we've got this professional lady, and she was from the oil and gas and holding a very, very good position. But because she was raising a family and she didn't want to leave the children to the maids and all that, she left her job. After about 8-10 years, she decided that she wanted to come back. And like many of you here, she was asking herself, okay, then I'm out of the market so long. Technology-wise, I'm also behind and all that thing. All these fears are all very real, and you're not wrong. But it also means that if we are prepared to say, okay, I've been away from the market, but I want to get back, and I'm prepared to learn. She eventually found a job, lower pay, lower in seniority as well, but she found a job. Okay, and in the role, in the area that she's of her specialization, put it this way. Okay. Now, some of you here may have worked for 1 or 2 years, and then you quit your job for various reasons again. I want to tell you another example, another one that we connected. This lady had never worked before in her entire life. I say never work, as in never went to the corporate world to work. She got married very young, devoted her life to her family, helped with her husband's business. Her husband's business is not like a corporate business, it's like very, very, very small business. So she was not very much needed, but she could help now and then. By the time the children all grew up and had exciting lives, she was wondering, what am I doing? She wanted an identity. She realized that she had no identity. She was her husband's wife, her children's mother. It was like, me. She's very lucky. Her daughter was very caring. Her daughter got in touch with us, connected her, and we actually managed to find her a job as an admin, entry-level admin. Right? About a year, 6 months to a year after she got the job, her employer came back to us and said, Swing, she very, very new, but she's so willing to learn. She on her own initiative, she learned Excel, she learned this and that. We already taught her but because in part of the program, we actually taught her a little bit of Excel and all that. But she went on to continue learning, and then she got promoted. This is for someone who at the ripe old age of 50, 55, 60, she got that. I'm telling you this to tell you that actually, if you have had a career break, no problem, can still work. I want to tell you one more example. This lady, high up there, she was the CHRO in her public listed company with businesses internationally. She retired. Obviously, she had enough money, no need to work for the rest of her life. She sat around for about a year and a half and she said, I think I'm a little crazy. So she got another job. She told us she was looking for a job. She was again lucky, like the other gentleman, we got her into the My Step program that we were working on. But her pay was not even half of what she was earning previously. She said, I just want to get out there and work. So she did. Alright? About a year and a half later, her old company, her previous company called her back. But she said, no thank you. Why? Because her current employer, they are treating her so well. With respect, and they understand where she's coming from, they give her the space, but that's also because she also was willing to learn. For someone at that level, right, she's currently working for a very small company. But they respect her so much, they respect her business sense so much that she's HR, remember, that when they go for business meetings, they actually want her to be there to sit in and just to listen to her point of view. So it's all possible. Before I go, right, as I'm talking about all this, Miss Park will tell you that when I spoke to her, I never told her this. It didn't occur to me to tell. But listening to all these inspiring stories, I want to ask one last question. How many people here have been on 2 career breaks in your life, or more career breaks? Okay. When I say career breaks, I'm talking about career breaks of maybe more than 1-2 years. Okay. And of course, when I talk about career breaks, I'm also talking about being out of the corporate world. I have been on 2 career breaks, and during those career break time, I was obviously doing something else. But even though I was doing my own thing, even though that was great, after a while, I actually got I actually got a little bit bored. I just wanted to be out there. It sounds a bit awkward. I just wanted to be out there to participate again in the corporate world. In order to do that, I had to be prepared to take a pay cut. I had to be prepared not just to take a pay cut, but to come back lower. And then that also meant to have to work doubly hard, to be more open to things. Alright, so I think everything else actually has been said. For you, for everyone else, there's nothing very special unless you have got extremely good cables and network that can help you put put you straight in. But otherwise, it's being open. I think later you're going to have all this on, you're going to have a session on how to write a resume. I think just go for it and absorb as much as you can, because writing your resume as someone who's been away from the workforce, you really need to have be different. Okay? And also, what will happen is that your challenge is in the interview, how you're going to market yourself. Because remember, out there are many young people who are very good at marketing themselves. And lastly, your biggest challenge is when you get the job and you have to adapt. Just remember, you really need to learn as you share your experience with the younger ones around you. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Wow, I'm inspired by the stories. They are so real. So later on, you can ask her for more advice, especially those above 50. So now it's my turn to speak. I'm a business owner of Word Design Communication. We specialize in corporate publication, and also Flexi Associates. In 2001, my late partner and I founded Flexi Associates. She was 20 years out of the job market, and when her husband passed away, she has lost all her secretarial skill. So here, both of us, homemakers, said, what can we do to make sure that our mothers don't suffer in case they need to go back to work? So we have been doing this, but it was very difficult because nobody was open. Companies were not open to flexi work. So anyway, we continue. And I'm very passionate about remote work. Last time they said work from home. It's because I started working from home in the 70s when I was a single girl. After graduation, I only worked about a year, and I decided, I don't want this type of life. There's no life. It's just work. No life at all. So I made the leap into the unknown, went into freelancing. And my friends don't know what is freelancing. You mean freely touring lunches? I say no. And my father was asking me, why don't you go out and get a proper job? I was working from home in my dad's house. And I said, Daddy, why should I go out and work a full-time job? At the time, my graduate pay was only $800. So I took an advertisement in Japan Club to teach Japanese ladies English. And then I took a part-time job in Tar College, and I also freelanced in writing. So I said, with all this, I'm earning more than what I was paid $800. So why should I want to tie myself? So, once you have tasted freelancing, you get addicted to it. That's why I understand, after the pandemic, the woman especially insists on still working from home. Now, it is very, very important for freelancers to master digital technology. When I started, there was no computer, no handphone, and no internet. But as technology came, it gets better and better. So much so, when I was doing a company newsletter for a multinational FMCG company, my artists work from home, looking after the middle mom. My translator worked from home, looking after the children. They sent everything to me, and I just package it, put in PDF, and send to client. Last time, without this technology, I could print out a whole magazine, show the client, anything wrong, come back again, change, and show the client. So why I'm so passionate about promoting digital technology is because I saw that digital technology actually helped me as a freelancer. So after a while, I actually specialized in corporate print media, but I know that print media is going out of fashion soon. So I left a company that I've been freelancing for 20 years and decided to go into social media. It was very tough. Nobody there to teach me. I paid $2,000 to go for a digital marketing course. I learned nothing. They promised me that they will, I can go back to refresh myself. But every time I go back, they say, oh, no more space for you, no more space for you. So I was very angry, spending so much money. So I decided to get some of my friends to come and teach and charge community prizes. And that's why I'm doing work on Microsoft training. And later on, I will go into editorial training, which is my field. I want to also tell you, I wear two hats. One as a homemaker, and the other as an entrepreneur. The challenges I have as a caregiver, you know, after a career break of being a mother for 7 years, when my husband started his business, I had to go for a full-time job. And I'm really thankful to Shell that they took me back even after a 7-year career break. And when I left to go back to freelancing, when my husband's business was okay, they actually outsourced me to me. So I'm very, very grateful to Shell and also today for sponsoring the place. So I thought that after my children have grown, I can go full swing into my business. Then I had to take care of my mother-in-law when she was sick, you know, and she couldn't walk. So, you know, both ways, when even the business came in, I had to turn them down because I had to take care of the children. And I know that during the pandemic, I did one magazine fully 100% online. Everything online because I don't even see the client, I don't even see the artist. And yet, because when a Filipino maid left, my husband had to cook alone and he couldn't manage. So I also had to give up that job. So this is the problem. I say that not only can we get the jobs, but also how are we going to cope when more jobs come in. So this is where I came, developed this idea of a work-life hub. That means the mothers and the children can work together, and then like 5 mothers look after the children, another 5 mothers will work. So I'm developing this, and I've actually tested it in the community library at Jayawan. When the parents came in, a group of us tried to organize storytelling and activities for the children. So, you know, when A, B, one pair, C, D, another pair, they can work together. If C's mother-in-law fall down or C's child is sick, we can still carry on. So this is something I would love to develop in the future. So that's why I'm into capacity building. Now, as an entrepreneur, I find that, you know, when my business grew, I engaged staff. But then I found that I was spending more time training my staff than looking after my children. So after they left, I don't want to employ staff anymore, and I just outsourced to freelancers. And that made me very profitable, and I was able to survive the last 30, 40 years because of outsourcing. So I know that companies can actually earn a lot of money, you know, because you don't have headcounts. And then when the business grows, you have a flexible pool to draw from. And if there's no business, you don't have to maintain them. So I'm encouraging companies to go and outsource work like to people like Fiona and to Kenny, so that, you know, they don't have to keep the headcount. And you know, there's a lot of brain drain happening internally. Not only Talent Corp trying to get people back from overseas. When mothers leave their jobs to do caregiving, that is brain drain already, you know. And many of us here have actually left the job for the children or to look after elderly parents. Now the second wave of brain drain is coming soon. Here already. There are many, many very qualified women who are leaving their jobs and going to be virtual assistants. They are getting jobs verbally, globally, and it is earning US dollars. So I would really want to ask the companies to consider retaining this. It is not easy for the mothers to work for overseas because of time zone. But if Malaysian companies can outsource such work and give flexible work to the mothers, then we retain these talents. And also, you know, most of the women now are graduates nowadays. And the companies have already invested so much in trying to get them to corporate training and this and that. Do you want to lose all this talent or not? No, right? So we, companies, will have to do something. And especially SMEs. SMEs will not be able to afford very qualified people. But by tapping into this pool, they can get very high quality people at a reduced rate. So there are two things I advocate. One is setting up the work-life hub so that there's no excuse for companies to say that they cannot work. And I think that it can be done in the community. For example, I've just set up one in Subang Jaya. Hopefully when 5 mothers work, another 5 can carry on the children's program. I've also set up a children's program for critical thinking and training a group of ladies to teach it. So while they're teaching this, we will be going into editorial training and building up people who are good with editorial skills, because I know that if we are excellent, we can go for global business. And also, you know, with this Malaysia Madani and ESG, at the center of this is compassion. And for many women, caregiving is our superpower. You know, when you are forced to choose between your family and your job, most women will leave their job for their family. So I think the CSR must be put inside the companies so that they do it for their real female staff. It is really an irony that when the children need us, we are busy at work. And when we go back, they are already going to leave the nest to go for university studies. So I really hope that coming together, we can find win-win solutions to this problem. Thank you very much. And now I would love to hear from the floor, any response, because all of you represent some experience that you can share with us. Who wants to start the ball rolling? Marina, would you like to share how you managed to get back to work? And she's working for a company in Iceland. Maybe you come to the front. Today is the first day I met Marina. We've been talking on the phone.
So this is like my first time in this kind of event. So back in 2019, yeah. So back in 2019, I left my job. I was already head of department at that time, but I was also falling sick quite a lot. So I left my job, and then looking for another job and trying to look for something at that level was really tough. And 2020 pandemic hit. Okay, so when I left in 2019, I thought, okay, I will take just a short break first, try to get my health back up. I spent a month in Vietnam, resting, and then I came back to Malaysia and continued looking for a job. And I was actually very particular that I wanted to do work in the line that I love, which is I'm in sales operations. I love business operations, that kind of line. So I really wanted work in that. I did actually get a job at Deloitte. It was a web administrator role. It was much less paid compared to my previous role, but I thought it was okay, for a start. It's okay, I can just go for that. But and the role was supposed to be you can work remote, and I was happy with that. And I had green hair at the time. Okay, so actually today my hair is quite proper, but I had green hair at the time. So when going for the interview, everything was okay. But after I got the job, they said, can you color your hair something more neutral? Okay, so that was like one thing. I had to color my hair brown to make it more acceptable. And then the next thing that happened was they said, oh, you have to come to office. So with those two factors, I left. So I think I was like 1 or 2 weeks in and I left, and I was like, okay, never mind, I will find another job. It's okay. And then I, of course, recolored my hair again. So, and that was in 2019, so it was just for a short time. I had, a temporary job, and then I continued looking for a job. 2020, pandemic hit. I thought, this is it, man. I feel like giving up already, Because 2020 pandemic, I read about stories about how people were struggling to look for jobs, people getting laid off, and I thought, oh my god, this is just the worst timing ever. But never mind, kept looking. My platform to search for job was mainly LinkedIn and JobStreet. I just stuck to this tool and kept at it. And then, and I had some pretty low points as well. I can't tell how depressing it is actually. And I'm sure you can relate how you can apply for so many, but you never hear back from them, right? So I can understand that feeling. And when you do actually hear from them, you have a chat, and then you never hear from them again. It's like, what's that? At least tell me, are we going to go forward or not? Nothing. And when you actually do get a next step call to with the hiring manager, yeah, you're good, blah blah blah, and sometimes you never hear from them again, and sometimes you do, but it's like, decided to move the role, or we're going to go with internal. Okay. And then at one point in 2021, that happened like 3 times in a row, 3 months in a row, and I thought, okay, this is going to be it. I'm never going to get a job. I told my husband, maybe we just have to settle with the fact that I'm retired. Although I was like still like 40 plus, I was like, maybe this is early retirement for me. That's fine. But one day finally I got a call, and I got the job at the company I am in right now. And when I got the offer, it was a bit less than what I used to make. The role is not as senior, but it is still in operations. So I was like, yes, I'll go for it. So I've been there for 3 years. I have doubled my salary. I have been promoted, once, twice, and I'm up for another promotion soon. And I mean, I can't believe my luck even until now. But it's not just luck. It's really hard work. In one of the things about me when I work is that I never say no. I know there's a lot of advice out there when people say when you go for to do a job, you are always particular about the job description. But for me, that's not the case. I never say no. When I first joined, the team was just building up. It was just me and my boss, and we had things coming our way, and I never said no. There were things that other departments didn't want to do, and they didn't know who to give it to, so they give it to me, and I said okay, But that was how we grew the team, and we got to hire more people, and that was how I managed to get promoted up. But of course, I spent a lot of time also learning. I had to learn Microsoft very quickly because we were using Dynamics 365 CRM. I wasn't familiar with that because I was used to Salesforce, so I had to learn that out. And right now I'm involved
so much. I would love to hear from another mother who gave up a very high-paying job for the children. Rashida, can you share your story, please?
Okay, hello, morning everyone. My name is Rashida. I'm 50 years old. Formerly, I was in an oil and gas company. Worked for 10 years around the world. My last posting was in Organiser. The reason I left actually was because my husband was also in oil and gas. He had to travel a lot. So we realized that it's not healthy for the children because we keep passing our children in the airport, touch and go. And most of the time, my children is more with my maid than myself. You know? So the last after the 10 years, even then I still follow my husband. We move every 2 to 3 years. So to one point, I told my husband we have to stop because my children can't be changing schools all the time. You know, they make friends and their learning would be disrupted as well because we go internationally. So we'll be changing from one curriculum to another. It's very hard for them to adapt. But unfortunately, or fortunately, while I was abroad in Canada, I realized that both my children are not acting the way other normal children are. And luckily, as we are in a Western country, the teachers are very well aware. So they called me one day and told me that my eldest is highly gifted. And I said I couldn't believe, but somewhat maybe I'm ignoring the sons because he started reading at 2 years old. But then he was my first son. I don't know who to compare to. So they were saying that he's a little bit bored at school, and you need to do something. We have a couple of programs and he needs to be diagnosed. So upon learning that, I realized that I cannot go back to work because of my son's uniqueness. You see, when you're gifted, we Asians always think, oh, that's great, right? But they come with other challenges. For example, my son is too intense that a small incident will result in a total meltdown. And when he's into something, he won't eat, he won't take a bath, his personal hygiene is lack, his executive function suffers. And we go back and forth with the psychologist because of that, and realize that he needs to be in a special program. And then come my young son, we realize also that he's also very different than the brother. But because the brother is so different, still again, we don't know what's normal is. But we do realize his development is very slow. So when we are back in Malaysia, his development was a big concern to us. He was not working properly and things like that. Initially, we were worried that he was autistic. But during those times, that was 15 years ago, we went to see a pediatrician to raise our concern. But the pediatricians in Malaysia said, no lah, nothing. He's just a boy. He got eye, he got ear, he got mouth, everything is fine. But as he reached 5 years old, we realized the teacher also was telling us that there's something not quite right, but we don't know what. And so we tried to find some special needs provider. And initially we were worried that he's autistic. But luckily we found a psychologist who looked at him and said, I'm highly certain he's very dyslexic. But I cannot tell because I'm not trained for it. So at those times, even psychologists, they only deal with autistics. They don't deal a lot with other disorders. So we have to bring him abroad and get him formally diagnosed. Ding dong, that cost us almost $10,000, just to get him formally diagnosed. I still remember what the psychologist said. You have to take him out of school now. He is suffering. He has depression, and he cannot go back to work. So those times there is no support in Malaysia for children like him, and I cannot be pulling one child and leave the other child in school. Knowing Malaysians who are very look highly on gifted, I get thoughts, and this is coming from international schools, that say I want the elder because he's of value to us. So I realized that I cannot go back to work. I realized that this is not the environment that I'm ready to expose my child with. There's a rampant discrimination, and the amount of beatings my young son get, the teacher would hold his head and bang his head on the wall and call him stupid. And I luckily my husband caught that, because he just felt like he needed to pick my son up from school. They all a gut instinct. When we caught that, we immediately took him out, and they refused to give us back our deposit of $30,000. 15 years ago, that's a lot. And this is from a top-tier international school. So I have no choice. But you know what? I took it with grace, and I realized that no one can help. So I'm lucky my husband is able to afford both of us, even though we have to pinch pennies. So with my son's therapy, I have to also secure it outside. So outside, which means in the US, we do it online. And to give you an idea, I spend $60,000 a year every year for almost 10 years for my son's therapy and schooling. And we have to find creative ways to get money for that. I sold one of my homes. We became vegetarian for years to cut costs. The weirdest things we do. So, but I take it like, I won't change it for the world, because both my boys now have grown up and they're doing very, very well. And the disabled one is doing engineering, and I really believe that if you have children with special needs, it's really important in Malaysia that you stay at home and take care of them, because I tell you the support is still in its infancy in Malaysia. So so now the reason why I'm coming here is to basically show support, but I'm also now attached to Kiwanis, because because they said, rather than you don't do anything, you've got all the experience, come volunteer your time. But in the special needs industry, the pay is very poor, so everyone has to work for free. That's the unlike Western countries where social welfare have a very strong salary structure. So I come here just to support you all, and also being an independent speaker, I'm also struggling to do my CV. At that age, I don't know what to put. I've done so many things, but I just don't know what to put. So I hope to learn something also from this very talented person. Thank you.
One of the things I learned about parents with special needs children is income degeneration. They leave the job, but they also have to spend a lot on therapy. And if we don't do early intervention, we'll have a lot of problems. I would also like to ask Encik Amin to speak. He was a second man in SME Corp. He left and did a lot of things, and now he's an entrepreneur. So, Amin, please share with us your wealth of experience.
Very good morning. Thank you very much for giving me some space to speak. How should I start? I'm very much a corporate person, working in corporate companies, then had the opportunity to work with the public sector as well. Sorry, can you hear me now? Okay. Very much a corporate person, started off with that, and then I also had the opportunity to work with the public sector. So I worked with the government agencies. That was I started off with Barat Pajaya, and then of course SME Corp. That's where I had a chance to meet Ms. Fang. That was during that time where I was involved in programs of assisting SMEs as well. But it got a bit to the point where I felt that, well, there's not much of a challenge, I guess. And when you be in the public sector, we do spend time and resources to help the SMEs. And I decided I want to go back to corporate, so I left the service. So I joined a multinational company for 3.5 years, and I was called back by the public sector. They couldn't get rid of me, so they were asking me back, you can come back and help. So my field has always been the corporate banking, so I do a lot of assistance on that. So I was invited back to the public sector as well, looking at assisting with the Ministry of Education, of course with the Ministry of Energy, Food Technology and Water at that time, and spent about service for 20 years. And I just ended my contract last year with the intention of having a career break. That was basically it. And I think the timing was right as well, because my son now is entering university. He's now in UK doing biomedical engineering. So when I left in June, July, August, September was pretty much a break in the sense that, okay, let's do preparation. I'm looking forward to my so-called March looking forward holiday break, but I've not been taking any long breaks for the last 7.5 years doing work. So we went to UK and spent about a month there. Wanting my son to settle down and so forth. So we came back and of course all gear up to look for a new career, basically. I think that's where the challenges started. The point where starting from November onwards, you start looking at new perspective, looking at what a new job opportunity that you could land. And being myself, probably say in the Asian context, 5 series, mid-50s, and you always feel like you're mid-50s, because your brain, your energy is still very much, you still have your 40 plus, okay, you have the energy to do it. Numerous efforts been done, but what struck me early this year was none of the bids. Basically we are laying bids, right, and then it's a good job. None of them come back to us. It was total silent. So I didn't know what's going on in the market. I had a few interviews. Went to the final interview as well, and therefore the answer was, you need to overqualify because we cannot afford it. Okay, that's fine. But I think the statement that really hit me hard was, went for a final interview, and then we're in the process of looking at some younger, succession planning and so forth. And I knew from that point of view, it really hit hard down that, okay, it's the age factor. And I was discussing this with my wife. I said, this is tough. You have that skills, you have knowledge, good knowledge, experience and knowledge and experience and skills. But again, the other person younger. So that actually was a challenge that I think most of us are experiencing that. The career break is good, but how do I measure myself? So the question I've been asking myself lately was, how do I go about this? And I think I can share what Rashita's feeling. I have vast experience, but to put everything in the resume itself, I think that's the biggest challenge. I think that's where probably we need to help later on. It's not easy, so that you have this pool of experience, and people telling me, you need to have 2 pages of CV. I said, what? I cannot do that. I have if I want to have, I will probably do injustice to myself. Because I'm not a fresh graduate, so we have almost a 30 years experience, but I can still contribute. So that's a challenge. I think I'm still finding out today who can help me, or sort of redesign or sort of do a bit of adjustment and the CV itself. So, but that's it. But what happened for the last 1 month was I decided that I want to be a one of the reasons is that I got busy in the sense that I'm going to be depressed because nothing is coming true, and so you feel that no, I think this is not right, so I need to do something. I was lucky in the sense that I spotted that early, so I don't want to drag over here. So I realized that okay, I'll start something on my own, and then I'm providing all of services to the advisory on ESG, sustainable matters, implications, also corporate plan. So yeah, so I'm basically here to listen out. I think there's a lot of us very inspiring stories. Some of the things that I've heard really hits you personally, honestly. I've been trying to do what Kenny was doing, with money online. That was the first thing happened in November last year. I couldn't, just don't know how to do it. Basically, you do not have the skills, so I'm still learning. Maybe I'll be in touch with Kenny and see where to start. Am I doing it right or wrong? So, I think the challenges that we seniors are facing is that we have the ability to give a leader. We are very agile, got experience and so forth. For me, I believe it's a matter of time, but I think my only advice sort of should I can share, but never to give up. You must not give up. I think that's the most important. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. So for this workshop, I'm really looking forward to hear some of the experiences. I think that will inspire me, honestly. Really work hard and see what opportunities and just lay out in front of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You see, ageism is really, really, very real. So I always say, you cannot find a job, company to company you create. By the way, I'm in my 7th series. I'm still working, and I love the business that I'm doing. And last one, I want to hear from Joseph, who's in HR. Can you give us some ideas how to market ourselves above a certain age and after a career break? Joseph was also working with Shell, and now he's on his own consultancy.
Hi everyone, Selamat Hari Raya. It's not the best to be HR amongst. So I was from this company, so it's good to be back. I just saw the IT person that I handed my laptop to, and this IT person almost cried, "Huh, you're leaving Shell?" Right. But after 5 years of keeping Shell in Malaysia, in upstream side, I decided to do what I really wanted to do and for my family, because I might have second baby and I'm not young. So I decided to devote my time. MC happened, then I came out and become a CHRO. Then I decided I had enough and came out again. So I'm doing multiple roles right now. So my left hand is doing social enterprise, working with native who speaks Bahasa in terms of helping them to build their own companies, business, like orang asli, right? Help them with organic farming, for example, starting in Sabah as well. My right hand then try to get some money to support the family, right? And then to do social, pump in the money to do social work as well. So I do very much in terms of performance as an organization, right? How do you have better leaders, culture, right? If that is not working, then I do headhunting for you. I still do restructuring support, right? So so I can allude to a lot of conversations. Sorry, I was late. My child was not well this morning. I think one thing that I have moved into, I guess was inspired by SY, was looking at how do we work with the invisible talent, and it was very much accident. So one of the initial hires that was successful, the first two are single parents, single mothers, and both of them cried, and I don't know how to handle that, right? But it takes a lot of coaching, right? So I think to work that through. So there's one part that I'm working really is people who have taken some decisions, they're off the market, they're back to market. So there's a lot of conversations with that person to help them to prepare. Also for the interview, for example, then after that, helping them along. So I do a lot of finance and HR roles as well. So in a way, my experience was able to help them with some of the decision makings that was available in the market, for example. Second one is the impact of the So on that target, right? So there are people who make choices for their family, also in caring for the family, right? So my personal experience, so in the headhunting side, I have 4 persons. One is taking care of aging parents. Second is she's very interested in doing what's called composting and things like that, right? And 2 of them were just off the market because of medical issues, right? And my experience working with this, trying to make this invisible talent thing work is a lot of effort, right? Trying to get them to be able to do what is required as a headhunter, for example, right? So never easy, but don't say no, right? And the second part, I think the ageism is really real, right? So I'm now blessed with being able to also hunt for C-suites, right? But most of the companies prefer people of certain age and being able to be part of their talent succession, right? I think that's the reality. The roles that we play, of course, even in HR internally, is to challenge that notion, right? And bring forward what's available in the market. Second, as a headhunter, then I also do the same, right? So far, there's one company that said, actually, I prefer someone over 50. So I put it in my LinkedIn, then everyone was so excited. Wow. It's probably the first time, right? But generally, not a lot goes there, and I think we recognize it. So some of the HR thinking that goes along is always, like myself, how do you build your career? Sometimes you see career as just a pathway, but going up, actually, in the more and more we are looking at on the horizontals. And some of the horizontals are moving out and coming back again, right? So when you move out of company, what do you do in your space? That's really important for us to say that, yeah, you'll still have market relevancy, right? So always think through that, build your own business, right? I feel many times, try different things, didn't work out, some work, some doesn't. Build those kind of relationship. I think those are things that could bring us some benefit as we come back. I mean, those on the topic of ageism, you know, your options are also on directorship. I think with Mr. Abdullah, right? That Muhammad Abdullah, Ami Abdullah. That could be an option to think about, right? Of course, entrepreneurship is really good. Advisory, helping out people, right? I think the community has that spectrum for us to actually have what we want in our life. I mean, we only have this time left in our lives, so what we do. And I think those are things that we do.
Is that right? You know, daddies like Joseph and Kenny are something that we really want to encourage. The last generation, we have a whole generation of absentee fathers, and it's reflected. So actually, Flexi is very inclusive. We want the hands-on fathers to join us, and that's why we're promoting flexible work. So thank you very much for all the sharing. I wish there's a chance for everyone to share, but you know, we're limited time. So we can have a 15 minutes break, and then you can network, and then you know, go to the people you think you can have a discussion with. Now, I would love to give our gift of appreciation to our panelists. First, to our hands-on dad, Kenny. Thank you very much for your inspiring talk, and I'm sure many fathers will want to follow the example. And the next one is Fiona. Yeah, she's so inspiring, isn't it? You know, if she can do it, all of us can do it, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Fiona. And also to Siu Eng from Higher Seniors. Thank you so much for your stories. I think your stories have actually given us a lot of encouragement.
Thank you, thank you.
So all of you above 50, make a beeline. Okay, we have a 15 minutes break. Please come in by 10:45 because we're going to start with the CV. The CV is very important. The CV is the first thing that will get you an interview. And as Amin said, you know how to tweak. We must know how to tweak and sell ourselves. And then your CV is not a CV, Now you're a consultant. So you must have a kind of profile. to sell. So it's a bit different. And then we can help each other along the way. Okay, thank you very much. And let's have tea.
Stays near you. So very far. Sunday she's on the other side.
The other side, but the other side. And she's staying. Okay.